TV.
Now for what's trending in true crime, police say a 17-year-old shot her father and her 4-year-old brother, and then told police that she couldn't resist the urge to kill somebody. According to court documents, Nevada teenager Mashenka Reid fatally shot her father and her nonverbal brother due to her growing frustration of the family's living situation. Here's some of what Reid reportedly told first responders after the shootings. Quote, "I shot my dad, I shot my brother. My brother is dead. I couldn't resist the urge to kill somebody." This is chilling stuff right here. What might the defense be in this case? What might we see for a defense for her? Let's bring in our guest now to talk about that. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown, and psychotherapist and CEO of Life Counseling Solutions, Dr. Janie Lacy. Big welcome to you both. Michael J. Brown, let me start with you, please. If she was your client, tell us what kind of a defense you would craft for her, please.
Julie, the thing that comes to my mind immediately is some type of mental disease or defect defense. My understanding is she's a young lady, 17 years old, mother left the home. The father, to some extent, left her to care for the special needs young brother. So the only thing I can think of is it's so overwhelming for the 17-year-old, and there was some type of mental disease or defect involved here. Again, it appears as though there was some premeditation from the facts, and she had told her father to leave the house. So when you have that type of planning, it normally defeats that type of defense, but I think that may be the only thing to go with.
That's a really good point, Michael. Thank you for that. Dr. Janie Lacy, I know you haven't personally evaluated Mashenka Reid, but if you were to, tell us what you might ask her, what you might try to question her in regards to, and why, please.
So she was someone I was potentially working with. You know, one of the first things that we would consider is we would want to understand any potential history of abuse and neglect, because we know, especially for teenagers that have experienced severe physical, emotional, or even potentially other types of abuses that may be from the neglect or other people that had access to them, that chronic maltreatment can lead to a lot of feelings of desperation and fear. And then we also know, as my colleague said, that then that can lead to mental health issues that we would definitely want to be evaluating. We'd be looking at depression, potentially like substance abuse issues, psychosis, any disconnection from reality, any conduct disorders, potentially early developmental personality disorders that can all play a potential role. But we know that people that have mental health issues or come from abuse and neglect does not lead them to actually taking other people's lives, especially people that had that they care about or was a relative of them. So we know it doesn't always lead to that. But when we're evaluating it, we would especially be looking at those mental health issues and that abuse and that neglect and any type of antisocial type of onset from her personality.
Sure. Excellent points, Dr. Janie. Thank you for that. Let's switch gears now to another case, this one in Ohio. An 18-year-old woman appeared in front of a judge on Wednesday accused of beating her boyfriend's mother to death with a rock.
The state expects the evidence to show the defendant, along with her co-defendant, brutally murdered the victim in the States, and then he fled throughout the country and ultimately to Mexico. She was extradited here and is a clear flight risk.
Judge, we would just request a reasonable cash bond.
Bond will be set, count 1, 500,000, no 10%. Count 5, 500,000, no 10%. Counts 2, 3, and 4 are each 125,000, no 10%. And that would be a total bond of 1.75.
Did you hear that? Bond's at $1.75 million for Caitlin Coones. She's accused of giving her boyfriend 5 hours to kill his mother. And when he didn't do it, she allegedly did. The victim, 53-year-old Nicole Jones. The mother of Coones' 34-year-old boyfriend, Jonathan Jones. Now, prosecutors believe that the boyfriend, Jonathan, helped her clean up the murder scene and dispose of Nicole Jones's body before they fled to Mexico. That's where they were arrested. By the way, Nicole Jones's body has yet to be found. So how might this couple's trip to Mexico impact the case? Let's bring back in our guests and talk about it. Attorney Michael J. Brown, Dr. Janie Lacy with us. Michael, to you first here on this one, having been a prosecutor, I know you know what to anticipate, as a defense attorney now. So talk to me here about how both sides are going to use these facts or try to combat those facts.
Julie, from a prosecutor's standpoint, they love when people flee the jurisdiction, especially when they go out of the nation, because it's called consciousness of guilt. So when you have an individual who's charged with a crime and they flee the jurisdiction and go so far as to leave the country, they ask the jury to infer that there's a consciousness of guilt. I'm having problems saying it this morning.
It's a mouthful.
Which happens to be a piece of the puzzle to show and demonstrate their guilt. But on the flip side, when this first came out, I believe that the prosecutors, especially the police department, indicated that she was a victim of a kidnapping situation where Jonathan, I think his name is Jones, fled the jurisdiction with her, but she was going against her own will. I don't know where that came from. But that could certainly be something for the defense in terms of, hey, he was in charge of this. He forced her. He coerced her. He's the mastermind, and she was just along for the ride. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of evidence they have to show that she actually is the culprit of this.
Oh, I like what you said there, Michael. If she was forced to flee with him, totally different story. The state might not get that consciousness of guilt instruction that, prosecutors love, and some states allow it as a jury instruction. So we'll have to watch for that and see what more comes out. I mean, this relationship between the two of them, it's just so twisted. Dr. Janie, this is where I want to bring you in here. Here you have this man who's significantly older than this woman, and we have her trying to convince him to kill his own mother. What do you make of this, Dr. Janie, if these facts are true?
But we look at a couple things. First, like you said, there's significant age difference. So we would look at potential manipulation of control and some of these dynamics that would happen in their relationship. But to convincing potentially of this fact of her to take his mother's life would tell me that some indication that they've made her an object or a problem or some type of barrier to their relationship when we look at some of these triangle type of dynamics, and leading her to do this heinous crime would mean that they had believed some type of delusion that removing the mother from this situation would be taking care of the problem. And that would show some level of dynamics of how this couple was probably operating long before they made that decision.
Great points, Dr. Janie Lacy. Attorney Michael J. Brown, thank you both so much.